Hi, this is Abul Hussain coming to you live and direct from London, the United Kingdom. And I have a very special guest with me joining me from Virginia. Now, before I bring him on, if you are watching this video outside of our Facebook group for social media marketing agencies, make sure you find the link above or below this video or go to SMMAmastermind.com. Now, with that out of the way, I would like to invite Lenny onto the show, who is a digital marketer with many years of experience. And we're going to talk about how you can get clients using digital marketing. So Lenny, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Abul.
Thank you very much for joining me. You know, I mean, it's quite difficult finding time to kind of get people onto the show. And I remember we spoke about this like almost a month ago.
Yeah, it's been a while, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. So for those who are watching and they don't know who you are, what you do, you know, how about a bit of an introduction into yourself and how you got into the digital marketing space?
Sure. I've been in the digital marketing space, I can say, for about 7 years or so. I guess officially 7 years or so. Kind of started a education-based website in 2013-ish, focusing on college students and high school students, just how to teach them sort of finances and skills that at the time and still to some extent today, skills that I felt the American education system neglected to teach students. So that's sort of where I got my start, digital marketing. And I kind of just had to get into it just to advertise and market the website and the service.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that's great. So in terms of working with clients, you know, and well, helping your clients get clients, you know, how do you go about kind of, you know, helping your clients essentially?
Currently or back in the past?
Well, both. I suppose. When did you start, and what are you currently doing?
So now I've kind of shifted. I went from initially I did the education website. Then shifted to having a gym apparel store online. Shifted again and did that, and then did real estate on the side. And then now I'm sort of doing real estate, and I have my own digital marketing agency, more specifically for gym owners, but for anyone in general that needs help in the digital marketing landscape, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And I guess sort of the main thing we try to focus on is getting people from old methods that might not work so well now, especially during and post coronavirus. We're trying to bring them up to, let's call it, a new standard of marketing.
Okay, so let's go into the new standard of marketing. You know, if you were to pick up a new client, or if somebody was to reach out to you for some help, you know, how would you get them off the ground?
The very first thing I would do is figure out what their goal is and figure out what they want exactly, and kind of dig deep into what makes their business unique. A lot of businesses, I feel like, they'll copy, and that's fine. Nothing wrong so much with copying, but they don't really strategize or tailor their approach to their specific niche client, I guess you can call it. Mm-hmm. And then usually from there, once we kind of strategize and once we kind of figure out exactly what they want, who they're going after, there's a 3-step method that I try to use. And I think this works. It's an old method, but I think it's still an effective method. And I think it'll be a consistently effective method in marketing in general. I think it'll slightly change as time goes on. But essentially the first step is, once they kind of identify the target audience and what unique value they bring to the table, the next step would be to generate what's referred to as a lead magnet in the marketing industry. And for those, if anyone's watching that is not familiar with it, a lead magnet is essentially, some people call it a bribe, a gift, any item of value of sorts that the target audience is interested in, and essentially will draw them into your business or your product or service, hence the magnet part of it. So that's where we would start. That'd be the first step.
So before you go any further, I mean, in terms of lead magnets, people might have seen ebooks and whatnot. So what kind of lead magnets do you see working right now that work quite well in terms of formats?
It depends. Ebooks to me work well. I don't know why. I'm a sucker. At least for me, I'm a huge sucker of ebooks. I like to read. Yeah, ebooks for whatever reason I think work very well. If you can really make the title and the overall copy and the pitch tailored to whoever you're looking for, that kind of goes into identifying the target audience. If it's too general, you might not get too many people reaching out, but if it's very specific, then whoever you're looking for will go for it. Yeah, and as far as other types of lead magnets, I've seen a lot of different ones. I know for some stores, coupons, of course, work well. It depends really on who you're going for. I would say a big one I see now, usually on Instagram a lot, is a lot of templates. If you're like a designer, if you're a graphic designer, people like templates. If you like to make Instagram posts, something like that makes life simpler, makes life easier. The target audience might not want to pay for. Those tend to work pretty well, I would say.
Right. So any kind of a bribe that your market would be interested in, it doesn't
Yeah.
the format. It just needs to be in tune with what the market wants.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got step one out of the way. What do we do after that?
So I would say step two is once you kind of get the lead magnet, and it sounds very simple, but this is a mistake I made for a very long time. Every contact you get from that lead magnet needs to be saved into a database of some sorts. In the marketing world, for anyone that's not familiar with it, we usually refer to it as a CRM, customer relationship management software, client relationship management. What the acronym stand for varies, but it could even be an Excel spreadsheet. It doesn't matter too much what you're storing the information in, but you need to store the information somewhere, because once you have the information in there, you kind of go to step three, which is you need to follow up and consistently market to whoever was interested in your product or service or whatever you're offering.
Right. So you've touched on the whole point of kind of getting people into a database, some sort of a database. So are you talking about like a MailChimp database, like an email database, or are you talking about like a Salesforce database? I mean, especially for small businesses who might not need an enterprise level solution.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could be any database. I've heard of some businesses that even simply just use an Excel sheet, and they sort of make a note of where they got their leads or contacts from. And they might have sort of an email automation campaign in MailChimp, for example, and import certain names into whatever campaign that they have. And it depends on, of course, the strategy of the business and how fancy they want to get. If you're sort of being super, super niche and maybe you're only selling one product, then I would say one lead magnet will do. All the names go into one email campaign, and you sort of go from there. But yeah, I mean, it depends heavily on the strategy of what you want to accomplish, right. I would say.
And then you've got this email marketing part. And what does that look like? Over how many days are you marketing to your prospective clients? What are you saying to them? What does great email marketing look like?
See, that's the tough part. I honestly think it just varies from industry and person. For example, in real estate, I know some really good agents, they'll send out stuff once a month. And for them, that's all they need. I know I send out stuff once a month. Real estate's weird because if you do it too much, it comes off too salesy and it kind of pushes people away. I know some other people that sell supplements, for example, like fitness supplements, and they'll send something every single day. And I personally don't like it. I think it's a bit much, but they do it a lot. I guess it works for them. So I assume it works. But I would say that's one of those things you might have to kind of go back and sort of kind of guess and check, see what works. Maybe try a campaign for a while that is every once a month and see if sales increase that way. And maybe try a different campaign that's bi-weekly or weekly, or if you want to be ambitious, every single day, if you have the time and the effort and you're willing to maybe have some unsubscribers on your list, go for it every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would just, I think it really just depends. It's kind of a guess and check, experimental type thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all marketing, isn't it? It's just experiment and building on one success after another, especially when you're doing testing. So, I mean, people hear about results, you know, talk about some of the results you've achieved, because this system rather, it's so simple. It's been around for years, as you say, but people often fail to grasp the beauty and the power of systems, especially when they're simple. So, you know, give us a couple of examples of when you've used this system and what kind of results you've achieved, just to give a bit of motivation to people who might be on the fence.
When I did this in real estate, it worked very well. When I finally started to actually use the system, I actually had a friend of mine who had multiple real estate agent friends. And at one point on social media, actually, I reached out and said, you know, if you're interested in buying a house, you know, feel free to come to me because we're friends. He very nicely said, you know, I have plenty of friends that do real estate, nothing against you, but I'm not interested in using you because I've known you for about a year or two, and I've known them for about 15 years since childhood. And they didn't have a campaign. They didn't follow up. And over time, I kept following up. And I think the follow-up, my philosophy is that if someone was interested in the first place, eventually they will buy whatever it is you're offering, whatever, you know, if they took the lead magnet, they do have some level of interest. I think where most people go wrong is they want someone to buy now.
Yeah.
And what happens is that they might not want to buy today, but they might want to buy next week or next month or maybe next year. But the follow-up in the emails is what keeps you top of mind. And so with him, I kept following up. And over time, he reached out to me. I wasn't actively reaching out to specifically him. He was on my campaign. He reached back out and said, you know what? I'm not buying a house now, but me and my girlfriend, soon-to-be wife, we're planning on reaching out, or we're planning on buying in July. Can I talk to you about it and use you once the time comes? Because I was consistently reaching out to him, and he became more familiar with me than his old friends.
No,
I mean, it helps.
No,
I would,
great.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I would say too, for anyone watching, it does help that's part of the differentiation too. I do a lot of videos and social media type stuff. So that helps if you can really separate yourself from the competitors, but.
Yeah. And, you know, you mentioned, you've worked in the real estate business with realtors and whatnot. A lot of people who will be watching this video, they'll be like agency owners or trying to set up an agency of some sort, right? And real estate is a big niche, because if you can get inside and you can sign up a client, there's a lot of money to be made.
Yes.
You know, so I mean, if someone's looking to sign realtors as clients, you know, what's the best way to work with realtors? How do you get their attention, and how do you kind of get them to sign on the dotted line?
I would say if you're an agency owner and you want to work with realtors, real estate agents, the only thing that I'll include myself in this because I have my license, we just want leads. We want leads. If you can design a good lead magnet for them and pull in leads, you don't even need to convert the leads into clients for them. You just need to bring in the leads and give them the leads and let them do what they want to convert them. But that's sort of the main problem with agents is we're just looking for people who want to buy or sell. And the problem is that I guess over years of people maybe being too pushy about it, a lot of people, even if they want to buy or sell, they might kind of back up and they're like, I do want to buy or sell, but I don't want to spend money on you, even though it's for the most part free if they're buying at least, and kind of if they're selling, but they don't realize that. But yeah, leads is everything for real estate agents. If you're an agency owner, if you want to get real estate agents as clients, develop a good lead magnet for them, because a lot of agents don't they don't do it well, you're golden.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And because you're a realtor, because you've got your license and all of that, do you care if someone who's come up to you and they're talking to you, do you care if they've got previous work experience, or do you care if they understand the real estate market, or what are you more interested in? What skills are you more interested in, I suppose?
If they're an agency owner,
or a freelancer.
To be honest, not really. I met actually a while back. He was just starting an agency, and his target market was real estate agents. And I really don't think real estate agents care too much about the agency owner knowing about real estate or being super experienced. I really just think if you can bring them leads, then they'll probably love you, because it's really difficult, and it needs to be a decent lead, someone who's at least remotely interested in buying. But for agents, they're not salary. They go, similar to with an agency owner, it's a business, and they'll go months without even hearing about anyone, that wants to buy or sell. A lot of them use cold calling, cold emails, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just know a lot of agents don't like it, and they might not be good at it. So if you can kind of be that agency owner that comes in and says, look, I don't know much about real estate, but I know enough to get in the buyer or potential buyer seller's mind and pull them in. Once I pull them in, I'll send them to you. You just pay me, however the agency does their payment model. If you can do that, then that's all you need to do. That's it right there.
Yeah, that's awesome advice, and especially for people who are watching who want to work with realtors, because they feel like they can get a part of the juicy commissions that the make. Now, for someone who is looking to kind of create a lead magnet and they have run out of ideas, or they have no ideas to begin with, where do they find their creative inspiration? What can they start doing, or whether can they look for inspiration in terms of getting a lead magnet created ASAP?
So the best thing I would recommend is do your absolute best to kind of get in the head of the potential client, potential customer. I know when I did I guess I'm not actively doing real estate as much, but when I did do it frequently, I specified my target audience was first-time home buyers, because first-time home buyers, you need to really hold their hand through the entire process. They're brand new to it. They tend to be on the younger side, 20s, 30s. They usually don't understand too much about finance to a high degree. They don't understand the home buying process. So, and if anyone wants to kind of copy this idea, feel free. What I did that worked pretty well was I had a book that it was 5 chapters of what to expect as a first-time home buyer and how to avoid all the common pitfalls that first-time home buyers fall into. And it sort of gave the reader, and it's so small, it's not a huge book, so it doesn't feel intimidating to read, doesn't feel like a chore. It's probably about 47 pages, and it's a booklet, it's very tiny. But yeah, if you're an agency owner, something like that for your client, if they're an agent, would be fantastic, because it makes the agent look professional. It gets directly into the mind of the potential client. It addresses at least most of their concerns, hopefully. And I don't know, it just keeps you top of mind, which when you do the follow-up and everything, branding, marketing I would say at its core is attention and staying top of mind. So I would say, find out what your potential client wants, get in their head, give them what they want.
Yeah, that's. Thank you for sharing that idea. I'm sure some people are going to get some ideas in terms of how they can apply this. So thank you for being quite generous with giving a direct tip there. Final question for you before I let you go. You've got a magnet now. Obviously, you need to get it out to an audience. What is the best way to get people to actually, consume your lead magnet?
To be honest, I don't know if I can say a best way.
Okay, a couple of ways, a couple of tips from your experience.
Yeah, one way that works well, if you have a website, a pop-up is usually one of the best ways. I find that a lot of websites, they have pop-ups or they might have a subscription box, but the subscription box is something along the lines of put in your email and I'll send you monthly newsletters. And some people might be interested in it if they really already like, you know, the product or service and they're familiar with it. I would say for a lot of people, it's not a strong incentive just because everyone has everyone's email nowadays. I think maybe about 10 years ago, people would be more likely to just give up their email. I think now in 2020, you really got to find something good for someone to just give up their email. And then you have to get to that second step of them actually opening the email and engaging with it and, you know, either responding to it or clicking whatever it is in the email. But yeah, pop up on a website with a good offer works really well. I find social media is a very good area for lead magnets, especially Facebook, Instagram. Instagram stories, if you're an agency owner, very good way to get leads. Just ask people if they're interested and then send them a link to your lead magnet. They opt in very easily. I did that in real estate too, and it works very well.
Yeah, that's great. Lenny, you've been quite generous with your time. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom with us. Now, guys and girls, if you're watching this and you have more questions for Lenny, comment below, give us some love, you know, likes and hearts. And I'm going to tag Lenny to this post. So, you know, do reach out to him if you have some questions directly, because that's the best way you're going to get, you know, the right guidance, speaking to someone who has been there and done it and not just reading theory online. So Lenny, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Abul. Thank you so much for letting me on the show.
Thank you.